Welcome to our podcast. My guest today is Sir Alex Schlinsky. The
Definitely not knighted, so I don't think I deserve it. But I'll
There
go
you
with it.
go.
I'll
There
go
you
with it.
go. Well, we have some British roots where we're from and things like that. A lot of our communities are British. British kind of set up the Pakistan and India subcontinent and all of that stuff. So we draw a lot from that side as well. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that the way we speak English and things like that and connect to the Britishers and the American culture. I like to say that we're a little bit ahead on that side. But Alex, welcome to the show, man. This is going to be epic because today was just gonna, in here in Calgary or Canada, we like to say shoot the shit and just kind of just catch up and see who Alex Schlinsky is, find out what your journey's been, and how, because a lot of our listeners are digital marketing agency owners, and you are a coach extraordinaire to digital marketing agencies, and you take them through an amazing path. And I've seen some of those results. It's incredible. And so we kind of want to find out that how do you, like, what do you have to say about how to set up a sales process, how to set up a marketing process, and how to set up a retention side on the agency, because those are the things that us as agency owners are get nightmares about, and that we dream about. We eat and sleep and drink these things. So, but before we do that, Alex, welcome to the show. What's going on, man? How you been?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. What's going on right now, as you know, RepStack is sponsoring our event, Prospecting on Demand Live, POD Live event. In September. It's a much bigger event, Azar, than we normally do. Usually the events we run are like 40 to 50 people, 90% our community, and then like 10% guests.
Okay.
Two sponsors. And then this one is around like 90 people. So just like roughly double the size or so. And we have like much bigger sponsors this time. You guys, High Level, Invisible PPC, and we're having like 25% community and like 75% guests. So just a lot more work involved, which is good. There's nothing negative about it at all. It's just everything we talk about internally on the team right now. It's just like, yeah, after the event. Yeah, after the event. Yeah, after the event. I'm really excited about kind of the progress we've made. I think I've shared this with you before privately, but unfortunately, like I'm someone who deals with anxiety and stress pretty frequently. And so I work really hard to build systems around me that allow me to have the least amount of anxiety and stress possible. And one of the biggest things that I found is this idea of Parkinson's law, which is like the amount of time you have fills the space allotted for the work you have to do. So it's why, like in high school, like someone will have a science project they have to do and they have 3 months to do it, but they only do it in the last week because the time that they allotted, they'll always do it later. So I've found that previously with other events, like I would always do the work late and then I would get so much stress and anxiety for that and it would be terrible. So we're like 3.5 weeks out from the event right now. And we're 100% completed with all of the content. Now it's just certain like small little details. So I'm very happy about that. Makes me not anxious or stressed. We're also sold out at the event.
Nice.
3.5 weeks before. So really excited about it. Yeah, that's really what I've been focusing on the last few weeks.
That's so exciting, man, because me and my brother Athar are going to be traveling to Tampa. I've never been to Tampa.
Beautiful place.
And really looking forward to seeing you, the group of people that you've collected together. And then on day 3, I believe we're going on a yacht. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that too, man. Are you going to be captain of the ship there or what?
Yeah, no. Unless we want no one to come back alive. I forgot to incorporate on the yacht day fine print that you may or may not come back alive. But no, I will not be captaining the ship. But I will say that they gave us a free ticket, Cher and I, on a dinner cruise to kind of see the boat. And they let us go to the bridge where
Nice.
like the, I guess you would call it,
Nice.
where I was able to steer the boat for a minute. So that was pretty cool. That was a fun experience. But yeah, the yacht's going to be epic. We actually had to get a larger yacht, Azar, because we didn't know we thought like originally that like 50% of the people would want to go on the boat, like it ended up being like 95%. So I think we have I think 80 total people right now, and 75 of them are coming on the boat. So we're like, oh well, shit, did not expect that. So we had to upgrade the size of the boat. So now I think we have a 150-foot yacht, which is insane. It's absolutely massive. So really excited about it. It's going to be so much fun.
How often are you planning on doing these events, Alex?
So right now we do events quarterly. We haven't done a big event like this since POD Live 2020. So POD Live 2020 was our first big event. There was 150 people there. It was a 3-day event. And that was also in Tampa, like at a hotel, but it felt very contrived. Like, don't get me wrong, I was really proud of what we did. It was amazing. We had a bunch of people join POD. It was great, but it felt so focused on like the offer has to go well and we have to get people to join POD. And that's really just not who I am. That's just the antithesis of my style. And so the amount of stress and anxiety up to that event was totally unhealthy and unnecessary. Like, oh my God, we have 150 people. Are we going to get enough people to convert? We spent all this money. I hate that. And that is not something I ever wanted to experience again. Plus, like 150 people, in my opinion, is just a little bit too many people. Especially someone like me, I love talking to people. I love having communication. And at the end of the day, you have to sacrifice communication when there's 150 people. You can't talk with everyone. Probably the same with 80. Like, I don't think I'll be able to talk with everyone. But still, like, at least it's a little bit smaller. Normally, we've run our events quarterly. Obviously, 2020 was COVID. So we did 3 virtual events after we did the live event. The live event, by the way, was 2 weeks before COVID. It was February 28th, 29th, because it was a leap year, and then March 1st. And then COVID, like all the shutdowns happened like March 15th or so. So it was crazy. Happened right after that. And then since 2021, I think in 2021, we ran 3 events, I'm pretty sure. And then this year, so this will be our 3rd event of 2022. So we do run it early. I think, Azar, will probably change that next year, because it ends up being like you're running 2 businesses. Like, running an event is very significant. It's like takes a lot of time and effort, especially for the types of event we run. Like, we're not lazy. Like, we put a lot of effort and work into the experience. We want people to have a great time. Like, we also prioritize fun. Like, it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have a good time being in person. It's not supposed to be
looking forward to that part.
Boring as hell. 5,000 speakers after each other. So we're always trying to do things that are unique or fun. We've done a scavenger hunt at previous events. We had a balloon animal artist at our last event because it's funny. We did hibachi dinner at our last event. We had, what else have we done? Costume party. Like, we've done all these things that are just fun and enjoyable for the enjoyment of being together, because we're rarely together. So yeah, I think just there's so much pressure on doing 4 events a year that probably next year we're going to do only 3, I think, but I don't know. It's tough.
I think that's a smart move for sure. Just cut that one extra out, because then, around Christmas time, you can kind of leave, and just be with family and things like that.
So last year we did an event in the first week of December at my house, which was fun. But like, if we did it anytime right after the first weekend, it's impossible, because the holidays are really hard to get people to commit to and everything like that. So we tried to figure out a method where like the process of event planning would be faster. And so we tried to hire some companies, but they want to charge like 50 grand, which is like, this is so stupid. Like, that's such a crazy amount of money. And then when we do it internally, like, it works, but it also takes the person that we hired internally to do it off of their regular scheduled job. So it ends up kind of just being another business altogether. But it's great. I mean, this event is one of the very rare events we're going to go into profitable already because of the ticket sales, which was great. The sponsors paid for roughly 80% of expenses or so. Upgrading the yacht changed that a lot because we had to get a much bigger boat. But that is, it is what it is. I didn't expect that to happen. So that's good. I'm happy about that. Most of the other events we run they're not profitable on the front end. They're only profitable on the back end for retention of our community, which is fine. Like, to make that investment. But this one will be a little different, where we'll be profitable.
I think what I've learned about POD and the culture that you are flourishing there a person like me, I wish I had something like this when I started out my journey as an agency owner, because it's a very very solemn journey. I
Yeah.
felt really alone in my 14-year battle inside my digital marketing agency. And I did what I could, but having a part of a group like this, where it's not just you're not just learning and you're doing these amazing things. One of the things that you talk about is clarity. That's immediate impact on not just your business but also your personal life. Like before we started out, Alex and I were just talking about how our personal lives also need to be so clear. We need to know where we're headed and things like that, with family and all of that good stuff. And it's so important. So being a part of a group like yours, I think I can stress enough that you need to be a part of this community as a digital marketing agency owner, because it's good for your business, it's good for your personal life, it's good for everything, right? So I can't wait to see you there, Alex. What I want to kind of start out with is get a brief history about what got you started inside the digital marketing world, man.
Yeah, sure.
I know you run an agency of your own as well, and that's where you kind of wanted to help other agency owners out. That's where prospecting on demand kind of was born. But walk us through the initial phases early on. Who's Alex? How did you get into a digital marketing agency?
Yeah, so I have like this really unique story about when I go on stage, I'll do like a slide at other people's events. When I go on stage at other people's events, I'll do a slide where it's like I ran a digital marketing agency for personal injury attorneys for 4 years without knowing. And people are like, without knowing, what does that mean? So when I was going to college, I was deciding if I wanted to go into psych or if I wanted to do pre-law to become an attorney. My next door neighbor was an attorney. And I did a internship with him, summer internship with him after I graduated high school. And I'll never forget, like the first day I got into his car, I'm like wearing a suit, we're going to court. I was really excited. I thought this was like a super exciting thing. And he like turns to me in his BMW and he's like, Alex, like, what do you want to be an attorney for? And so like the 18-year-old in me was thinking that he wanted this very professional, like polished answer. And so I was like, I want to make a difference in the world and blah, 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 like that whole thing. And he goes, okay, cool. So my mission over the next 2 months is to make sure 100% you don't become an attorney. And so we were driving for the next 30 minutes to the Miami-Dade County courthouse. And all he was doing was just kind of bitching, frankly, about how horrible it is to be an attorney and how he wishes he never did it. But yada, yada, yada. So it was really funny to kind of see that, because I had never had anyone older than me be very transparent and blunt about life that way. Most people, especially to younger kids like that are 17, 18 years old, usually, at least in my bubble that I lived in, were very like positive on the outlook of life and career, but he was very not. And I had never experienced that before, honestly, ever. And it was very shocking. And it really like came to me in a different way of like, wow, like maybe I don't want to do this. And so yeah. Very smart guy. Facebook business pages had just launched. This was even before they had business managers or ad accounts, but they were allowing boosted posts. If you remember, that was like one of the OG methods on Facebook. You spend like 20 bucks, 50,000 people would see it.
And that's, sorry, Alex, cut you off, but Miami, the Dadeland area, that's where you're born and bred?
Yeah, I'm from South Florida. Yeah, Hollywood, Florida is where I'm from, nice. Which is like 20 minutes, 30 minutes north.
I love that part of the world, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's and you're in Tampa.
Tampa, that is correct. So basically, he asked me if I would post for him every day on Facebook when I went to college and do one weekly newsletter from Constant Contact, which I did, and he would pay me $1,000 a month to do that. And so I did that for a little bit of time, and it was amazing making this extra money. I thought I was really smart. It was like a side hustle. I didn't take a lot of time to do it. And I thought, well, he went to law school at University of Florida. Maybe he knows more people in Florida that I could do this for too. And so inherently I just asked, and he sent me like 20 attorneys across the United States that he went to law school with that all had their own firms, all of them basically personal injury attorneys. And he was telling them that because of my posts that he was making more money, getting more cases. And so when I got on the calls with them, there was no sales needed. It was like, oh, Lloyd recommended you, like, boom, here's $1,000.
Nice.
Like 12 or so clients. It's hard to remember exactly what it was, but anywhere from like 10 to 15 clients. It was crazy. And now every single morning, my wife and I, that was my girlfriend at the time, we wake up, like earlier than class. I think it was something like roughly around like 7 o'clock, which at that time for us was like ridiculous. But we woke up at 7 in the morning. We would go on National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, pull like 25 articles, and then post them corresponding to the business pages for our attorneys. And they were getting cases from it. And we would start boosting the post for like $5, $10, and they would get cases from it.
Nice.
And so my brain, though, wasn't entrepreneurial enough. I was very focused on academia. I was very focused on doing well in school, and that this business that I had was never a business in my mind. The paradigm was it was just a side hustle. I was just a smart guy that was able to make money, that I was able to pay for school and then pay for my girlfriend's shit and then buy stupid things that a college student buys, as you can probably guess, and save a little bit of money, even though I didn't really save anything because, again, I was a stupid 19-year-old. So like, what do you want from me?
You're really underestimating yourself there, man. Like, I wish I had that sort of wits to get stuff like that done when I was going to school in Minnesota. So that's amazing.
That I was more cognizant of what I had at the time, but I think hindsight's 2020. Like I
exactly
really focused on school, so I think I was just blinded by that and really thinking that I was.
So if you're paying your tuition and taking care of all of this stuff, you must be like doing like 5, 6, maybe. What was the revenue that you already built that business up
Anywhere from $7,000 to $12,000 a month.
Wow!
Like I would get a lot of pauses for like case overload and stuff. So that's why it was a lot of, and I didn't know how to handle that back then. I was just like, yep, we'll break it. And then they come back. So anywhere from 7 to 10, 7 to 12. But it was pretty consistent for 4 years at that rate.
And at this point, you've decided you're not going to be a lawyer, but you're still going to school for
psychology to become a
clinical psychology, but you're working with lawyers.
Yeah. I actually wanted to do forensic psychology because I was really interested in like how the human brain works and criminal deviance. Like I always found that fascinating. I was always like the one that wanted to watch like the Netflix documentaries and stuff. But as when I graduated college and I did a externship at like a woman's battered home service, I realized very quickly that this is not a documentary. This is very real. And I felt very uncomfortable immediately, like, oh, I don't want my life to be associated with this. Not that it's not important work. It is. It's just not for me. And I honestly felt at that point the lowest in my life, that I had spent 4 years of college doing something that was like, I was just very immature, thinking that it was like it was a movie, but it's not a movie. Like these are real people and have real circumstances. And so when I found myself kind of stuck, obviously the only inherent thought process I had was, well, I'm making money from this constant contact thing. Like, can I get more clients to do the, posting on Facebook? And so I started searching about that. And as soon as I started searching about it, digital marketing became like one of the terms on Google. And I'd never heard that term before, literally never once heard that term in 4 years. And obviously when you start searching it, then you start getting the ads from Dan Henry and Ty Lopez and Sam Ovens. Those were kind of the main players at the time, Dave Rogan-Moser. And so I bought a couple courses. The biggest one by far was Dave Rogan-Moser's. Like he was the most willing to share, the smartest by far, and had just the easiest process to follow. And so Cher and I went full force on that from like 2015, 2017, roughly, built a very successful marketing agency for personal injury attorneys, starting to do Google ads that I used.
Nice.
And that's really where I started making a lot more money. That's my little man. I'm sorry. He's home from daycare.
It's okay, man. He's cute as hell.
Give me 1 second.
Hey, buddy. What's his name?
His name is Ellie.
Ellie. Yeah.
Hey,
so
when I graduated and got the opportunity to start working in the actual agency space, I realized pretty quickly, wow, I'm kind of stupid that I didn't realize this opportunity 4 years ago. But I kind of was pretty hard on myself, to be honest. So yeah, I realized pretty quickly, after seeing the opportunities in the space, that I was on the ground floor of something relatively new. The marketing space to me was like billboards and TV and radio. I didn't actually realize that digital was a thing. Like obviously I saw ads on Google, but my brain wasn't positioned to think about that at all. I was just so focused on school and becoming an attorney or becoming a clinical psychologist.
So you built a digital marketing agency and you didn't even realize you built the agency. It was just a side hustle, which was already in 6 figures. while you were
I
in
didn't even
school,
know. I didn't even
and you
know.
didn't even know.
Crazy
And then
thing
by
was,
the time you figured it out, you start beating yourself down. But you
yeah,
should
and I
really
actually
keep.
hired someone too, which is crazy. Like I hired someone from UCF that was like part of my class to
Mm,
source some of the articles because we had too many clients at the time. Like we had
mm,
roughly, after I graduated, I think we had something like 20 something attorneys, and it's
mm.
hard to find like that many articles at like when everyone posts at like 10 a.m. And at that time we were like
Yeah.
focused on like when's the algorithm best, like when are you gonna, and so we had to hire someone, and still even then I didn't understand it. So it's really weird in retrospect to think, because look, I know like bluntly I'm a smart person, I'm a capable person, I'm good at sales. It's just so weird looking back, like how did I not recognize what this was?
Mm,
It's odd, you know, it's strange to be honest. So the biggest thing though that I saw that transitioned me from the agency to POD was really two main things. One, I'm a pretty emotional person. This is just the truth. It's who I am. I wear my heart on my sleeve. That's good and bad in some ways, transparently. Attorneys are usually not very nice, to be honest. People can watch the podcast and be like, oh, don't be whiny about it. And I agree. But also, like, I'm a big believer of like, we have choice on what we want to do. Like veterinarians, as an example, they don't get to choose like the person who's the dog owner that's an absolute psycho that wants you to like take care of their dog. I get to choose if I want to work with an attorney that's very rude or not. The thing is,
yeah.
like, I can take someone being rude to me, but I cannot take it when they're being rude to my wife. And that made this business almost impossible to run because they were just constantly rude to Shira for dumb shit, like a stupid grammatical error, a post that
Yeah.
was Seattle instead of San Francisco, like stupid things. Like we were not 20 years old making mistakes, like we're human beings, but they're like freaking out over it. And I just could not take that. And it was really unhealthy for me. So what we did was we hired a project manager and focused solely on the Google ads instead, so we can just get them results. And as soon as I saw the ads from like Dan and Sam and like the coaching programs that they were doing, I thought of two things. One, like I could do this better than them for sure. And not because that they're not good, just this is my best skill, like communicating with people, making people feel at ease, people like knowing that I care about people. Like I'm just a bleeding heart. That's my style. So I know that I can create a community, and I wanted that very badly. And so immediately I switched over to POD in 2016, 17, while we were still building the agency. Started with one-on-one coaching. Then I did it in group cohorts of like 5 to 6 people. And then we built out the current programs that we have. I missed one step, which was I didn't start with one-on-one coaching. I started with a $1,000 course and a weekly webinar that I think I did this webinar, Azar, 30 something times, which was horrible. And that's so shitty. But I think in a year I sold like 280 or something like that, 300 something.
Oh, nice.
Courses. So I was like, wow, like I'm a beast. Like I'm a beast. That's how my brain. I'm like, I'm a beast. But then I screwed it up completely because I didn't know what I was doing. I gave them lifetime access. So I had clients that had paid me $1,000 one time, 16 months later, like getting support. And I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna work. This is not gonna work.
Okay.
So I just had to kind of learn, over time. And now I'm really happy with the businesses that we have. I'm grateful for it. And
you still have the agency as well, right? Your legacy agency, you're still letting that
so
run on
much
autopilot.
smaller these days. Much smaller these days, anywhere from 10 to 15 clients. The reason why there's a discrepancy is on average, attorneys will have to pause once a quarter strictly due to caseload. Like my attorney offices are usually 1 to 2 person attorney offices. So like if you provide them with 6 cases, they can't really work more than that. Like it's impossible to do that, or they get a huge catastrophic case, which unfortunately is the reality. Like someone dies or someone is paralyzed or someone loses a limb. Unfortunately, these are the realities of car accidents. Reminder, can wear your seatbelt. It's absolutely insane, by the way. Just to say this, I know it's crazy, but the amount of cases that I've seen over the last 12 years where people just don't wear a seatbelt, like you would have lived. It's like, it's not that hard. Just wear a seatbelt, just straight up, like honestly. But anyways, so like those cases when they're catastrophic, usually they take a lot longer to do. Like they have to like go against Geico or Progressive or State Farm for like 6 to 12 months, but then they end up generating like $1.5 million for the person, and then they'll get like 10 to 15% of that, which is $150,000. It's just a lot of money. So you got these awesome learnings you got from your agency days
right from your college days and all the way to building this agency, which is still operational, working with some of the most difficult clients out there. That may be an understatement. And then you switched over to building this amazing organization called Prospecting on Demand. And you've been helping out since I think to 2016. You've been helping out people like me build out their agencies. So walk me through one of the questions that, and every agency owner, we want to grow our agencies as well. So walk me through, like, what are some of the things, like if I'm listening to a show as an agency owner who's struggling and I want to do better with my own marketing and I want to do better with my own sales, and then I also want to retain those clients, just to sum it up, like what would you recommend for that, Alex?
Okay, that's a lot.
That's a loaded question. I know.
A lot of questions.
Well, why don't you start out with the marketing part? Like, because I know you have to do your own. You got to get the funnels going so that these people can come in pre-positioned to buy and things like that. Let's start out with the marketing. What do I do there to get these people interested in me?
So yeah, I think one of the things I've always admitted, and I still believe this, is I don't actually think I'm such a great marketer. Like, I feel like I'm an okay marketer. I feel like I'm a much better salesperson than I am a marketer. Like, the thing is with marketing, for me at least, Azar, is like, I usually think of these very unique ideas that are very pattern interrupty, and then I put them online and I put money behind it, and then it doesn't work the way I want it to. And it's very strange. So what I found is, even though if you put like great ideas out there, the amount of money you put behind it is seemingly so much more important, which is kind of frustrating, to be honest, because like I don't have a amazing like ability to have risk aversion on money. Like, I'm willing to put $10,000, $15,000 into ads a month, but there are coaches and consultants out there, like think about Russ Ruffino, like one of the OG ones, like Clients on Demand, I think is his business. They're spending like $100,000 a month on ads, I have no ability to compete with them. They can have the worst ad in the world, but they spend 20 like. So I don't think I'm honestly the greatest marketer, to be fair. But what I do know is that my team is really good at it, which is one thing I'm always confident and comfortable with. Is I'll say what I'm really good at and I'll say what I'm not, so that I don't have to sound like a dumbass when I don't know what I'm talking about. In terms of marketing yourself and being effective, the most effective rate for me is, starting with your local network, identifying who you can get as beta clients, that they understand why you're doing this, and that the cost that is reflected in you being relatively new to this, getting them some results, maximizing and optimizing for those results, getting proof testing, referrals, and then from there, reinvesting into advertising. I think one thing I would consider on advertising is trying not to worry about competition. I hear a lot about like red ocean and blue ocean and this thing and that. I think at the end of the day, just if you are comfortable investing into ads and then calling on the lead side, it works. The thing that we do that works really well for our clients, Azar, specifically right now in 2022, is lead ads and then a direct to book calendar. And what we find is get lower quality leads for sure. There's no question about it, but you will have more of them and the ability to get the higher quality leads right off the bat. I think too many people try to do like a very complex funnel or webinar or VSL. And it's kind of played out at this point where it's like, okay, here, click on this landing page, opt into the landing page, watch the 25-minute training, book a call. And yeah, you're right. If they go through all of the hoops, you will get the higher quality lead. The thing that most people don't know is those leads could cost anywhere from like $80 to $250. And you just don't know that. So if you're only spending, which is very common, like $30 a day, the funnel will never work. And all the time that you put into it and the money that you put into it and the time that you did the VSL, it will never work. And you'll be like, why isn't this working? And it's strictly a numbers game. You're just not putting enough money behind it. And thus you have to have a much higher risk policy. Like, I'm willing to suddenly put $10,000 on ads, which aren't. With lead ads, Azar, you can get leads for $5 to $7. Will you get a lot of people that have no interest in working with you? Definitely. But it doesn't matter. If you get 10 leads, okay, and you call all 10 of them and 2 of them pick up and 2 of them are interested, right? That's like a $35 lead. That's quality, right? That's really good. That's a really good opportunity. So we strongly recommend everyone we work with, and then eventually converting it to a different type of funnel. But we've just seen this work over and over, and I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do it.
I think that's a great marketing strategy for somebody who's starting out. Exactly what you did with your legacy agency. You went to the person you knew, you tapped into their network, went to friends and family, and kind of, got the proof of concept. And from there, once everything got started, you're now able to spend money on ads and things like that. And I think I totally agree with, like, I think you're talking about some sort of like a opt-in campaigns where you can get these leads coming into you, at $5 to $10, and then you have your salespeople come in on the backside, an appointment setter, pick up the phone as soon as it comes in, dial that person, because out of those 10 people, even if you get 2 to 3, I think it's a winner.
Well, the thing is also, like when I tell this story and I tell them about the weekly webinar strategy, because that's how I generated like most of the sales for POD, you have to remember this was like 2017 and 2018. So the weekly webinar strategy was like brand new by Russell Brunson. It was not very common. Like very few people had seen it. They didn't see like the stack, like, right. They haven't seen that stuff before. And so it obviously worked very well. But since then, the market has been infiltrated so much more. There's so many more people that have knowledge of this, not just agency owners, but also the actual end clients, the doctors, the dentists, chiropractors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They know. So like the lowest barrier of entry is what I always recommend. And my thought process is always meeting the prospect where they're at. So if you have a very direct ad that's like, hey, roofer, I can get you 10 more jobs in the next 30 days, guaranteed. Do you want it? Click on the ad. It's a lead ad that's auto form filled with their name and their phone number. They can decide to auto book or not. And now you can call them right away. And now you have Joe Schmo, who was $7, and you call them. And if they're a good fit, great. And if not, no worries. But the idea that Joe Schmo is going to click on that ad, go to a landing page, opt into the landing page, watch a 5-minute video, it's never going to happen. It's not a thing anymore.
Love it.
I think
the clarity you bring on the marketing side, it's tremendous. You've done it for yourself, and you're keeping it simple, and you're generating amazing results. So I think that and are you still doing the webinars, Alex?
No, hell no. God, no. Fuck, no. Definitely not. No.
So,
what we do instead now, Azar, for POD specifically, we have a couple like main methodologies. We always run group ads like to join our group because they're low cost and they're easy to do. We don't really do any like VSL stuff on Facebook for POD in particular, just because the competition is spending significantly more than us, and that is fine. I'm not really trying to grow that much. So to spend like a crazy amount would be foolish. The biggest thing we focus on is Dream 100, right? So connecting with rep stacks, high level, invisible PPC, because all of your clients could potentially be my clients and vice versa. Same with high level, same with PPC, et cetera. So creating deals with those people and doing trainings, that's something that's really working for us. And then using our group where we do a weekly webinar. It's not a webinar. I said webinar because you just mentioned it, but it's just like a weekly show that Brian and I do where we shoot the shit on, whatever is up to date, and then usually get, 1 to 2 clients a week. So we have a purposely grouped company. So like our company, we don't want to work with more than 50 agencies at a time, because that's the place. Like I want to have a lifestyle business. And I think some people resonate with that and other people don't, because they're trying to have like a public traded business with an IPO. It's like, it's just not me. I'm not at all that person. It's just not my style at all. Like I'm just trying to spend time with my son. I'm trying to like be healthy. I had open heart surgery a couple of years ago. I'm trying to like work on mental health, be more physically healthy. Like financially, I'm good. I don't always need to have more. And I think one of the main problems as an entrepreneur and hustle culture in general is like, everything has to be more at all times. Nothing is ever good enough. Nothing is ever satisfactory. Nothing is ever fulfilled. It's always more. It's always more. It's always more. For me, that is very dangerous. I think that will cause a lot of people burnout and stress and frustration. For a very select few people, that is good. But I really think it's for a very select few. And the scary thing is the very select few, too many people think they are in that very select few. But the reality is the majority of people really aren't in that very select few. What they really are is they just want a lifestyle business where they clarify. And I said in our last chat, but the easiest way to do it is just the 3 steps: define, design, and do. So just define what you want, really define it. Just really clarify what you want. Like whether it's you want a Lamborghini and you want a $2 million home, or you just want to be able to pay a $500 car payment, like whatever it is that you really want, define it. Then you design the milestones to get there, whether it's like, hey, I need this amount of clients to get here, this amount of clients to get there, this amount of team members to create this profitability. You design it as best you can, take the actions. If more people would do that, I think people would be more successful. The problem is a lot of people just skip the first two steps. So they just,
define and design.
They just
that was me, man. I was just doing nonstop.
Like, why is it not working? Yeah, crazy.
And I think you've given us a great idea on, anyone who's starting out on the marketing side. Keep it simple, and you'll never be able to compete with the big guys. So focus on the stuff that you're good at, and just go direct to your audience. Looks like is defining a niche important at this time? Working on a particular set of clients, or can you just be a generalist agency?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly very strongly believe in the niche concept, but I also understand why people do generalist agencies. I'll explain kind of my opinion on it, in hopefully providing a different thought process than maybe what other people are considering. To me, like the idea of a niched agency is having one offer and one prospecting process and one fulfillment process, something that's just easy to repeat over and over. And that's what I do with my agency, because the only thing we do is Google advertising for attorneys, nothing else. If they ask for Facebook, we don't do it. If we do Facebook retargeting, so it's kind of not true. But anyways, do they ask for social media management? We don't do it. They ask for constant contact emails. We don't do it. Like, that's just not something we provide, not because we can't or because we can't make money from it. It's just the more complexity added, the more problems that are available. I think people get blinded by dollar signs, but like dollar signs usually equate to a certain number of hours required to provide that dollar sign amount, right? To get that money. So to me, like the simplest and is the most effective, right? So like I'm all about simplicity that scales. Essentialism is one of my all-time favorite books by Greg McKeown. And the idea is that if you focus on one thing, you can move much faster than focusing on 10 things and getting really nowhere with it.
Just like when we want to have a hamburger, we go to this specialized hamburger place, not a place where they sell pizza. Well, you can get it at Denny's, but usually I try to avoid that. I maybe go to Five Guys or a place that I really know has
the best. Five Guys is the best. One of the things that people kind of struggle with when I say this is, but like their enjoyment of marketing. Let's say you've been doing the generalist agency for 5 years, where it's like I've had X amount of clients, say 50, and on an average of 10 clients a year. 50 clients, all different projects, mostly some are websites, some are SEO, some are Facebook. And like people that are really like marketers, like at the core, they like love the problem solving aspect. They're like, oh, okay, so this dentist, which is something I've never worked with before, is having this. They love working, but then they also get stressed and burnt out because their money is in a roller coaster and they're constantly.
That's been me, man. That's been me. I tell you, I've been doing that, and it kept me engaged, Alex, but man, 14 years of doing that, it got old, man. Like it's brutal, dude. Like I would not recommend that to anyone.
Here's the thing that people that are creatives tell me that they struggle with is like, but you're taking away my creativity if I do something that's the same thing over and over. And it's totally true, but here's my rebuttal, right? You sacrifice the next 3 to 6 months to make something that is boring and repeatable. Say, for example, you work with dentists and provide Facebook ads and ISA calling to get them 20 booked appointments every single month. And you optimize that system. You get 10 clients in there at $3,000 a piece. You have a $30,000 a month business. Your team handles it for $15,000. You profit $15,000. That will take roughly 3 to 6 months to do, depending on how much money you have, what your skills are, et cetera, right? There's a rough estimate for you. Now that you have $15,000 a month and you can pay your rent, your bills, you're good, healthy, you can save some money too every single month. You can pay down debts, right? We're in a healthy position. Now you can go back and do any of the creative stuff you want. Now you can choose to work with whoever you want, pro bono or not. Like if you want to work with your church and make them a website for free because that fulfills you, fucking do that. That's fantastic. That's awesome.
Amazing, man.
If you want to work with your friend who runs a cookie shop and you only want to get paid for performance instead of asking him to pay up front, you can do that because you built
the boring business first. And, once you've done that really, really good, given the stability to yourself, your family, people around you, now, just sacrifice that for 6 months. That's amazing insight.
A lot of people will not sacrifice it, though. That's the thing. It's pretty crazy, but I think it's a worthwhile.
That's why a group like yours come into play, right? Give us clarity. Unless I started working with coaches like you, I was still lost, man. Like this whole enterprise of RepStack that's built out over the last 2 years is because I got a moment of clarity working with my coaches and figuring out that, the things that I've been doing, they should not have been happening the way they were. And then in those moments, those were the most exciting times of my life when I was starting out RepStack. I had like 2 or 3 businesses that I could start out at the same time. And I knew I could just see that they were going to, just explode. And, RepStack fortunately took off out of all of them. But we're running out of time here, Alex. I think we're going to have to catch up on the next one. But just quickly before you head out, I know I love your concept of sales, man. You have this, I think this thing that you define, it's called one call close methodology. And it's amazing. Can you just leave us with a few nuggets on that one? What is this one call close? Because I've never heard of this, man. I've taken so much time to close some of these deals. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So to me, the one call close methodology is combining your qualification calls and demo calls. A lot of people really, really struggle with the sales process because they do like a qualification, then a few days later they do demos, but they don't show up to the demo. Then they have to think about it, and just becomes this whole bitch of a scenario that's very, very frustrating. So what we do and what we recommend is you focus on time as the most valuable asset instead of finances. So when a prospect comes to a call, their mindset is that this salesperson just wants my credit card. But the truth is what they're already giving you for nothing is the most valuable asset, which is their time. So when you pre-frame like, hey, I'm grateful for your time. I want to deliver for you. Why are you on this call? Now they have an entirely different mindset around this meeting. Like, oh, that's so true. Okay, let's maximize this time. So then you do the 4 W's very simply. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's the obstacle holding you back? And what's the urgency? Once you have the 4 W's, then you just transition to the sales conversation. So for a roofer, it would look something like, right now you're currently getting 15 jobs per month. You want to get to 30 jobs per month. The biggest obstacle is you're the one doing most of the roofs, and most of your business comes from referrals. So there's no consistency. And the reason you want this done in the next 90 days is if you get to 30 jobs, you can hire another roofer, get another truck on the road, and you don't have to do all the work yourself manually. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. Okay, cool. Can I show you in the next 15 minutes what we do with our roof method to help you grow your business and get you consistent business guaranteed? Are you open to that? Yes. And then you sales portion. That framework has proven to be very successful, not only for me, but for all of my clients. It's a highly effective method. I'm a big, big believer in it. I have a shitload of training on the one call close. If you search my name, I've done it for probably like 10 different communities at this point.
I think you have a free group that agency owners can come and join. Yes. What is it called, Alex?
Called 7-Figure Sales Savages. It's pretty easy to find on Facebook, I think. So
perfect. We'll load this up on the we'll share the link as well so people can join, because I know it's been really effective for our own sales team, and I've seen Alex in action actually on this method, and he is a beast on this one. Like, that one call close thing really, really works. And we're actually on the RepStack side, we're actually thinking of implementing some of your trainings on our, we have a 5 to 6 person sales team, and we're planning on implementing those things on our side, and we'll talk to you on that. And I think we didn't have time to talk about retention, but we have another podcast coming up sometime end of September. So we'll kind of catch up on that side. But Alex, man, I really appreciate your time, and this has been amazing. Thanks for doing this. I'm so looking forward to your event in Tampa, and any digital marketing agency owner who's listening right now, join Alex's group. Get your hands on some of the free trainings that Alex has as a part of you becoming a member of that group. It's going to be a life-changing experience. I can promise you that. Alex, thanks a lot for joining us, man. This has been phenomenal, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.